reishi really is one that adapts to a lot of different people. The elderly, the young, every different age group can benefit from reishi.
Hello and welcome to the Herbs with Rosalee podcast, a show exploring how herbs heal as medicine, as food, and through nature connection. I'm your host, Rosalee de la Forêt. I created this YouTube channel to share trusted herbal wisdom so that you can get the best results when relying on herbs for your health. I love offering up practical knowledge to help you dive deeper into the world of medicinal plants and seasonal living. Each episode of the Herbs with Rosalee podcast is shared on YouTube as well as your favorite podcast app. Transcripts and recipes for each episode can be found at herbswithrosaleepodcast.com or through the link in the video description. Also in the video description, you'll find other helpful resources. For example, to get my best herbal tips, as well as fun bonuses, be sure to sign up for my weekly herbal newsletter. Okay, grab your cup of tea and let's dive in. It was such a pleasure to have Yarrow on the show. He's a dynamic speaker with lots of energy who is obviously super passionate about plants and the ecosystems that they're found in. I loved hearing his thoughts on connections and how our bodies are communicating and learning from plants. I have no doubt this is going to be a favorite episode for many of you. For those of you who don't already know him, Yarrow Willard is a second-generation clinical herbalist living in the unceded territory of the Comox First Nations on Vancouver Island. He's the co-creator of Harmonic Arts, the Wild Rose College of Herbal Medicine, and the Canadian Herb Conference. As an online personality and YouTube educator, he's known as the Herbal Jedi. His mission is to help empower the modern age with tools and teachings for reclaiming health through deepened connection to the natural world. Yarrow's approach to plant medicine is one of curiosity, connection, and contemplation. His teachings often are infused with old-world energetics, modern measurables, and direct plant communications in a playful and digestible way. Yarrow, I'm so excited to have you on the show. I've literally been waiting for this for years. So welcome. So glad that you're here. I'm excited to dive in. Hi.
Hi. always love connecting with fellow herb nerds, as I call us, or just like enthusiasts on the plant path. So super appreciate you having me on and just being in your space and connecting with you one-on-one here in a little deeper way.
Oh, thanks, Yarrow. Well, so I don't really know a lot about your plant path. I know in your bio you say you're a second generation herbalist, so it sounds like you might have had some guidance along the way from a very young age. But I would love to hear, all the ways in which the plants have brought you along on this path to bring you here to us today.
Well, my father is Dr. Terry Willard. He's a clinical herbalist who, was all one of the old 70s herbalists who kind of out of that hippie generation that really got into plant medicine before it was a big renaissance that it is now. And so there wasn't really a lot around that. He started a herbal college in 1975. So we're actually having our 50th anniversary now. And I'm the director of the college now, Wild Rose College of Herbal Medicine. And as a young kid, I spent some time living in a teepee, spent some time on land. They did one of these, tried to do the communal thing at one point, which was a bust because a lot of people, it's just all experimental. But I think I did my first herb walk where I actually spoke about herbs when I was 5 years old. And it really is, my name was Yarrow. And so my dad was like, all right, Yarrow, it's time for you to tell us about Yarrow here. And I was like, well, I like to play and I enjoy being in the forest. Like, no, the plant. And I was like, okay, well, and I just really looked at the plant and I'm like, it's very protective and it has this shield on it. And little did I know what I was doing was just kind of reading the energy of the plant, and kind of tuning in, learning later that this is what the flower essence does, helps us from psychic debris and other people's influence that may be negative on us. So since then, I spent a lot of time working in health food stores and tuning into the plants. My mom was the manager of a health food store too. My parents put me through Waldorf school. So I kind of went through this sort of artistic way of exploring the world. And why I got into herbalism, honestly, was because I loved all the diagnostic systems and energetic patterns and almost the architecture of the metaphysical background. And it was like, wow, Chinese medicine had all this cool language around how to explain phenomenon. and energetics. And then so did the Ayurvedic, and so did all these different, even the First Nation four directions. I was able to map out a lot of intentionality and ways in which there was meaning behind things in life. So that was my jam. When I was younger, I really loved that stuff. Since then, I graduated my clinical herbalist about 20 years ago now. So quite a while. And I wasn't doing anything with it. I had done all my clinical hours, spent 300 hours in clinic, doing Vega testing, doing every kind of weird therapy there was, pulse, tongue, iridology. I really loved the diagnostic tools. But I found that I wasn't sure I was going to be a clinician. And maybe I had it in my mind that I needed to look like Merlin and have the big gray beard and the forest gnome ethos to me before I could really show up in this wisdom of the plants. And I had a lot of respect and awe for the plants, but really I just loved crafting. I loved crafting medicine. I loved wild foraging. I loved tuning in and nibbling on plants. So I spent a lot of time exploring that. I moved to the West Coast, really got into the mushrooms and tuning in. And my wife was really clear, I'm not eating anything you pick out of the forest until you know, but I was quite inquisitive. And so partly, I think an energetic of a forest elf spirit is something that I embody at times. And so, my guidance has been many different teachers along the way. I studied a little bit with Seven Song and David Winston and a few of these kind of great elders. I did herb walks with Michael Moore and spent some time, with Ryan Drum and just lots of great American herbalists. But my influence is in Canada. I'm in the unceded territory of the Comox First Nations here on Vancouver Island. It's the most abundant, beautiful ecosystem. And so a lot of it has been just tuning in with the plants directly and learning from them. And that's kind of what I like to share. I love to share about people plants that tune into us and we can build reciprocity and relationship with. And I feel as though the biggest disease of our time is nature deficit disorder. So how can we bridge this gap? And that's where I'm just so enthralled with the herbal path, because we get to be some of the medicine bridge for people, and they're tuning back into the natural world, which has so many ways to heal us beyond just the therapeutic chemical constituents that a plant might have. So that's really what I love to share about. And since then, I guess my herbal path is I started a company 15 years ago, Harmonic Arts, and we're now across the country. We make tinctures, teas, syrups, elixirs, or herbal latte drinks. We do a lot with medicinal mushrooms, and it got way bigger than me. And it's now this kind of really big influence in Canada in the herbal world. And I'm good friends with a couple other herbalists, and we just were really how do we get people together? So I guess it would be 10 years ago, we started the Vancouver Island Herb Gathering, and we've been doing that now, for about 10 years. And then the Kootenai Herb Gathering, we partnered with them, and we do an online Canadian herb conference. And so it just keeps building and building this momentum around plants. And partly everything that I do or have done in the work around plant medicine is from a basic mission statement of deepening connection to the natural world. And so they keep finding me, these plants. I started a YouTube channel in 2012, and that got really popular too. And the college now that Wild Rose College has almost 3,000 students. So there's a huge impact. These plants keep saying we want you to keep bringing more of this. So that's where I'm at. That's my path so far. The intentionality is to grow old and become a wizard.
And what did you say? Elf spirit in the meantime, or?
Yeah. I mean, one of my favorite plants is, I call it elfwort or elecampane. And I just think, there's a little bit of the forest elven deity and ethos to the way I like to show up in the world. So
I can see that. I can see that.
Hence, email miscommunications sometimes happen.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, I'm kind of embarrassed to admit this, but I'm just going to say it. I did not make the connection with Terry Willard. I don't know why I didn't. but maybe that says something, like you've made your obviously have made your own name in the world.
Yeah, I was a rebellious kid. My father created the Wild Rose Detox, a really very popular cleanse, and it was all capsules. And I saw him eating handfuls of herbal capsules. I'm like, that's not the way herbs should be taken. So when we built our offering for the world, we were like, everything but capsules. We'll do anything that has people have organoleptic connection to plants. And so that's my way of rebelling.
Well, I also really love, like, you just keep bringing up, the connection to nature and being out there, and that's something you and I share very much in common. And I really love how that comes through. I know you mostly through your YouTube videos, which are phenomenal. And I see that through that. Like I was telling you, I just watched one that you published about a month ago. I forget the title of it, but it was like fur medicine. It was a
Yeah.
two-part series. I
Mhm.
watched the first one, and it just like that just is woven through everything that you're doing. You're connecting with the Douglas fir trees. Your love for the forest shines through. The videography on that is just so cool. You must have a drone, and it, just looking at the different lenses and stuff, but it just really feels like, oh, I'm out in the forest with Yarrow right now. It's really well done.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like a drone, but we have like this selfie 360 stick for doing like upper things that it's like a fake drone almost. And it's
Huh.
really fun for like walking through the forest with this big thing. My videographer used to be a musician, and he really didn't want to do that anymore. And so he's a really good friend of mine. And we just had so much fun exploring growth in like the art of crafting something that feels like a real like a music video slash herbal connection. So
Yeah, they're just so much fun. So
well,
for
thank you.
anyone who hasn't watched them, I highly recommend them. And and again, I love that the videos aren't just like, here's the medicinal uses of Douglas fir. Obviously, that would not be you anyway, but you really do weave in that nature connection through everything you're doing. So it's really beautiful to see.
It's holistic frameworks, right? I think that's one of our guiding lights as herbalists is we have a little base in this kind of holistic systems of integrating mind, body, spirit, but also like more than just that kind of allopathic model of a problem reaction solution kind of like
Right.
that doesn't fit for a lot of the herbalists I know anyway.
Right. Yeah, and you mentioned the Vancouver herbal gathering, which I've heard about for years. I would like to make it one day. It just
We'd
sounds so
love to have
beautiful.
you for
Yeah.
sure. And we also do, because of COVID, we joined forces and created the Canadian Herb Conference. And it's a great online offering. There's nothing like being in person though. That was the biggest reason we started this is there's so many people in the woodwork who are into plants and they don't have community always. And so when they
Mhm.
come to these gatherings, it's just such a beautiful celebration of plant people. And the
Yeah.
first time we went was to like I think a Montana gathering, and we were in herb school, and we're like, let's go down to the Montana gathering, and some of our favorite herbalists were there, and it was just such an impactful moment for me in the plant path to realize like, wow, this is a much bigger community of people who are really connecting with the natural world in a really powerful way.
Hmm.
So, and that to me was really nourishing, being kind of siloed in my own little like world at times.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned that particular gathering, Montana Herb Gathering. I went there once, and it was so beautiful once, just getting out there. But yeah, that was such a special bioregional conference. It really was like you're just hanging out with like your best friends now. It was a really, really wonderful conference. I loved it.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. Yeah, there's more and more of that. I mean, I'm in Canada, and so we don't have as much like, but I remember when I think Mountain Rose did Rootstock, and we went down
Yeah.
for that. And it was
Yeah.
super fun, and just seeing, there's more and more of those kind of things. Been to the Good Medicine Confluence and a few of these other kind of events, and it's really nice when it's in nature, though. I have to say,
Yeah.
that's my favorite place. Yeah, and I
Mhm.
think the Dandelion Seed Conference is a great one too. Yeah,
Mhm.
a bunch of these popping up.
Yeah. Well, I love that, I asked, "What herb do you wanna talk about?" And you said reishi, and I love that as herbalists, we just accept reishi and other mushrooms as an herb. It's just, like, not even, like, bat an eye. It's just like, "Yep, that's part of our materia medica."
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that stems from the way the Chinese view herbs. Like well, I say herbs, so I know you guys say herb. It's our
That's
Canadian.
funny. Shawn Shaw brought that up too. She said it in a very funny way. She said, I practice holistic herbalism, which is the whole herb, including the H, she says.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, she's a good friend of mine. She actually helps. We organize the gatherings together.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. It is always funny to me. Yeah, you can always tell the region. If somebody says herb, they're from Canada. If they say herb, they're from America.
Yeah.
So,
You know, it's funny on my YouTube channel, that's pretty much like the most common negative comment I get is people tell me I'm pronouncing the word, like she can't even pronounce the word right. That's what people will say. And I'm like, have you
oh
not heard
man.
of this phenomenon before? I think it's the French influence. I think that is what came from it. Because in French you don't say the H either. Um,
Yeah, it's just I think it's silly though. One of the things I love about YouTube is the opportunity to grow past negative comments and trolls.
yeah,
Like,
true,
I have
true.
lots of people who are like, I get comments like, he worships strange gods, but his content's okay, you know? I'm like, oh, I have a lot of really interesting comments. Some of them I bookmark because I'm like, this is great. Like, this person is totally like slamming me in a way that I just have to be tickled by. Because I know it's not about me.
Right, I know. That's something that's easy to see, yeah.
Yeah.
I was terrified getting on YouTube at first because the YouTube comments are so notorious. I was really nervous, but the herbal community that has been, 99% of the comments we get are so kind. Just the occasional, don't think I know how to pronounce words right, which is true sometimes. I don't know how to pronounce all words correctly.
I script lots of Latin names. Yeah. But yeah, yeah, reishi is like, and basically back to what I was saying, like in Chinese medicine, like, you know, gecko is a herb, you know, ant
Right.
is a herb, like animal parts, plant parts, mushrooms, yeah, they all fall into that category. So it is one of those things that I think people think it's just plants, but mushrooms to me are, there's something really magical and like wise about them that I really resonate with their wisdom. And reishi in the ecosystems that it grows up in, like wow, it doesn't grow in new forests. It requires an intact biodiverse ecosystem before it emerges in as a consciousness. And I just think there's something to that, like that complex stability that creates this beautiful intelligence that is great with plants, but especially fungi, and the way that they work with the mother trees and help remediate and move chemistry around the environment to create a more healthy ecosystem. And that in itself is probably one of my favorite things that they do, the whole like fungal network, the wood wide web as we call. But reishi in particular has some real special qualities that yeah, and there's a lot. I mean, I could spend hours talking about this mushroom. I actually have a couple of videos that are almost like that are on our like World of Mushrooms series on Wild Rose. But yeah, I'd love to share a bit about it and why.
Yeah.
It's my favorite herb. I mean, first off, I'll say just to prove my point, I have a 24-year-old daughter, and her name is Reishi. So this isn't just a newfangled favorite of mine. I've been a fan of the reishi mushroom for a long time, and she's amazing. My daughter is. She grounds me in a lot of ways, the way reishi does. Yeah, and I think the old fabled line in China, there's a bunch of names for it, but like my favorite is spiritual vegetable meat. It's vegetable meat. It's kind of, or like things like to protect the academic from their own brain is what they say reishi is for. And so for those of us who think a lot or are on these devices, it has some great qualities for like bioremediating out toxins and Wi-Fi signals and all that kind of stuff. So really just healthy for radiation or just the techno age that we're in. So that in itself is amazing. Everyone knows this is an adaptogen, but to me, the truth of an adaptogen is something that also can adapt to just multiple styles of people, not just multiple like balances and imbalances in the body. And reishi really is one that adapts to a lot of different people. The elderly, the young, every different age group can benefit from reishi in such a powerful way. And so for me, I have a little bit of insomnia at times, and reishi totally helps that. It helps with anxiety and heart palpitations, helping me breathe better, ground into the earth. I think of it as like kind of nature's internet almost, because of the way it like tunes in the communication to the natural world for me. I can almost like use reishi to kind of Google what I need from the muse in a way.
Mm.
So there's some things like that. We have a bunch of different types of reishi out here on the West Coast. The Ganoderma oregonense is probably my favorite because it has this big red fleshy top like the lucidium, which is the classic Chinese reishi. But the fleshy top produces this big white spore pad when it's young. And you can like, it bends over the top of the cap when it's young. And you can slice off a little piece of it. And it has this like buttery umami steak feeling when it's fresh. And it's just like, wow. And when you eat a little bit of that, you don't even have to harvest the whole mushroom, just a little sliver off of the spore pad as it's growing. About this time of year or midsummer is a good time to do that. And what I found was right away, like my eyesight was like, whoa, I had like almost like tingly, like brightness and an ethereal quality to my vision. Like it felt altered in a lot of ways from tuning into the reishi. So that's one of my favorites. I'm also a big fan of spore licking. That sounds weird, but I love to like these mushrooms, these spores, and you can just go and lick the spores, and they're high in terpenes. They're great for the immune system and antiviral qualities, and they just tune you in a really neat way. So, and I find spores, I'm a big fan of the weird parts of plants, or I guess I'll call it like almost it's the sexual parts of plants, like the pollens, the stamen, the spores. And I think that they produce all this really unique, almost plant hormone that can help us in sort of balancing our endocrine system in that way. And yeah, I just really love that about reishi this season. So I spent a lot of time not picking reishi, just licking spores and eating the buttery umami steak pieces of the spore pad. Yeah,
I'm already seeing like the YouTube comments, like he licks spores, but his content is really good.
yeah, right? I know, but I think this is something that the organoleptic senses of our body, our sensual way of communication, is so much older than our social norms and our dialect and our collective awareness. It's just an old system that is our best way of communicating still. It really is, especially with beings that don't speak English, yeah, plants really respond well to us, and we respond well to them when we touch them, when we feel them, when we lick them, when we nibble them, when we spend time in and out of their harvest season. Where I find that they don't respond well to is when we just see them as an extraction resource, and we're like, great, it's nettle season, going out to see the nettles. Like, did you spend time with the nettles outside of nettle season, or did you give some thanks to that area at any other time besides that harvest cycle? And so that's the thing I like to kind of think about and to connect in with, is going to these places. And it's just like reishi is a great example of, it's only there for a short period of time. But I can like tune into the reishi forest. Every time I walk in that forest, I'm like on the mycelium, and I just feel like I'm hanging out with reishi, regardless of seeing a spore pad or a fruiting body of some form. It's in there, and so I can feel part of my I guess forest bathing practice is just trying to feel into the mycelium under my feet, and so it feels like a juicy place to spend time in for my being anyway.
I love that you have the consciousness of reishi at all times, even if the fruiting body is not visible at the time. I am curious about when harvest season is. We don't really have, I live in the dry side, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're in Washington, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can take a hop, skip, and a jump over and visit it. Yeah, I know. I did a herb walk down there, and I was asked like, okay, we want to find some reishi, and I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, so I'm going to go to Google. I'm going to find a forest that looks just like my forest, and we're going to go do our plant walk there. And 5 minutes later, bam, we found reishi.
Oh, so, wow. That was in Western Washington, though, I take it.
Yeah, Western Washington.
Yeah, I'm in Eastern Washington. It's a little different.
Yeah, so the basic in Washington, or in the Pacific Northwest anyway, the artist conch, or the Ganoderma applanatum, is the easier one. It's a perennial reishi, and it's got the brown cap, and it's called artist conch because you use a feather or a nail or a needle or something, and you put a mark in the spore pad, and it stays forever. So you can make these beautiful art in the spore pads, and it's also really antibacterial, but it's easier to find. because it's a perennial. So it's around and it just adds a new shelf to the spore pad every year. And I have found ones like this, like that I could,
Oh,
you know,
wow.
there's one that I harvested off of a big old maple, and I could barely lift it. It was so
Wow.
big. Um,
Wow.
and it was like the tree was dying. The sport pad was still had some, but I knew it was okay to harvest this one. It had its time.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, that one's easier to connect with because of that. It's got a brown cap. It grows on maple. It'll grow on a bunch of different. I've seen them on cottonwoods too. Those ones.
Oh,
But
interesting.
the reishi that I really love, that's like my kind of Easter egg of the forest, is the organense or the suja, and the organense is got a sort of a wider red shiny. It's called like red varnish conch, and it really grows on hemlock, and it loves. So with mushrooms, it's really important to understand your trees, and so
Mhm.
hence doing a fir video, I tune in with the trees a lot around their barks, and the hemlocks, especially the older ones, grow the most beautiful reishi. Harvest season's around September, but you can tune in with it as early as like July. But the thing that's crazy is on the big ones, like once you find a good hemlock that has reishi, it's got a 20-year, pardon my pun, shelf life, because there's the shelf mushrooms grow on it for the next 20 years, and they kind of wax on and wax off, like almost like every 5 years you get a big flush, and then you get like smaller flushes throughout that. And it starts with small caps, and then it grows into bigger ones, and then so you can I can gauge now after spending time with it the age of how long that tree's been growing reishi approximately, because of the size of the mushrooms and the density of them. But yeah, that's about the time. And again, like I do love the new technology with the ability for me to like, I find a tree that I tune in with, and I can like right away go and look at and pin it on a map and be like, this is where I'm going to come next year. And then I also can topo from that and say like, oh, this is the kind of forest. And then I can go on my off time and be like, I'm going to go to, like, we have this forest in around us, like that I know of, but then like I'm going to go to Manning Park, which is like another ecosystem an hour and a half away, very similar, and right away tuning in with reishi very quickly.
Hmm.
So once you know, and even in like right in the heart of Vancouver, one of my favorite experiences with reishi actually was there's this trade show that we go to every year for the health food convention, and it happens in, I guess it's February. Harvest season, like I said, is September. Anyway, I always go to Stanley Park, which is the main park in Vancouver, big park of old growth forest, right in the heart of town. Really beautiful because of that, because it's my like little place of nature bathing before I go to the big city. And I'm like, I know it's crazy in the city. I'll go spend some time in the forest. And I got out of my car and like I was walking to go into the forest, and there's a bike path there, and like soon goes a bike, soon goes another bike, somebody goes running by, and like it's so busy I can barely cross the bike path. And but right on the other side of the bike path is this giant beautiful reishi, just like like
Wow.
glowing. And it's so I'm like, and I'm looking at all these people, I'm like, does nobody see that reishi? Like there's got to be 1,000 people going by a day here, and it's well past reishi season. It's just like this reishi is just calling me across the bike path, saying like, "Come visit me."
Hmm.
And I just, I guess why it was so ironic and special to me was that here in the middle of the city, all these people come to this place, maybe unknown to themselves, to tune in with reishi in a way, to ground into the ecosystem, to forest bathe, to be in nature. And this prolific reishi forest, who is the kind of the grand holder of space in this ecosystem, and they don't know it, but they're benefiting from the reishi consciousness there,
Hmm.
and yet none of them are seeing it. Like they're all just going by, busy as can be. And yeah, so when you do tune those lenses a little bit differently, the reishi just beckons you and it says, come find me, I'm here." And so yeah, anyway.
I love how
So
you're sharing just like all these different levels of knowledge. Like somebody could start out like being interested in reishi as like this medicinal substance, and there's all these benefits which you've mentioned some of them, but then as you talk about it, like just how the way you're forming a relationship with reishi, and it's not just with reishi, it's not just with the mycelium, but it's with the entire forest where the mycelium, especially especially the trees, the ecosystem, and then you're even, finding that in different places. I mean, that just to me is like the epitome of what makes herbalism so beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. There's something to the wisdom of a lot of the intact indigenous systems that, like, when you ask them where the way they learned about plant medicine, it's like, well, the plant told me. And
Mm,
like, I feel like finding that voice from the plant, it takes a lot of contact points. And so like the one thing I could invite people to is have more contact points with a herb that
mm,
you're excited about. Like
mm,
find ways to like touch it, grow it, connect with it, nibble it, find it in a health food store, find good quality, bad quality, go visit it off season. How many contact points can you make? And the
mm,
more you do, that relationship just starts to build without putting like, it's not like you have to like force it, or I'm not like sitting there meditating, getting into this space where the consciousness is connecting with me at this enlightened place. It's like, no, I'm just actually, like any relationship, I'm investing my energy into spending time to learn from it. It's
mm,
really simple. And it seems so mythical, but it's not. It's
mm,
actually just, if you care about that relationship, find new ways and other ways to deepen it.
mhm. I almost want to say like it's almost both, right? Like by being very practical and having all these connection points. I like how you put that. It creates this like, I don't want to say mythical necessarily, but there's some type of like joy and just inherent like magic that happens through the
Mm.
practicality of spending time with the plant. That is, for me, I have a hard time describing what that is. But for me, that's like the heart of like what I do, why I do what I do is those like incredible, joyful, magical moments of connection.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I agree with you there, and I've heard it. I think it was Buhner said it. Like using the heart as the primary organ of perception, and
Mm,
I just love that concept of like getting out of the head and into the heart when we're spending time, and using that as our primary filter. And the
mm,
concept that I've kind of modeled off that is that the brain will entrain to the heart if the heart guides first. And so
mm,
it's like, how do I just take this big dome and drop it down through my throat into my heart and just kind of melt my awareness and soften my edges a little bit. And that's where I find that magic happen.
mm. Yeah, and I want to say that like spending time with nature and with the plant world, like, it makes that easier. I think because was not like I had to learn that as an adult. I wasn't already in that space, but it really came like without trying. Like you said, it wasn't like a forced thing. It's just it happens.
Yeah, yeah, it does. And I guess like why I say from a practical level is that it seems like a giant leap for those of us who are steeped in an academic world,
Right.
but it's not a big leap. It's
Right.
just also allowing like your inner child to speak
Mm,
for you sometimes, to be playful, to be open and inquisitive. Yeah, and all that stuff kind of takes work for the adult brain to do, but it's not like it's hard work. It's just kind of letting go of, it's unlearning a little bit.
I'm learning. Yeah. Yeah. So true. Well, Yari, you've mentioned these just amazing gifts of reishi, like helps you sleep, helping breathe better, talking about kind of this clarity of vision, and I don't know. You mentioned all these things, and it makes me wonder. Like, it makes it sound like maybe you work with reishi often, and I'm wondering how you like to do so.
Yeah, I do. There's a lot of different ways I like to work with reishi. I mentioned like licking the spores, and sometimes I'll actually just take a little piece of paper and a brush, and I'll sweep spores on. I like to dehydrate it, slice it, and make tea with it, or we put it into our broths. So we do a lot of like kind of bone broths with a lot of mushrooms and other and seaweeds and things like that. Reishi's often in there. It has a little bit of a bitter quality because of the terpenes, so you want to be careful not to like throw off a recipe with too much reishi in
Yeah,
it.
I've done
Um,
that.
yeah, it's easy to do that if you like overdo it. But my favorite way is actually to make a dual extracted tincture, because I think it's the easiest way to connect with all the parts, because it has terpene profiles and it has polysaccharides. Polysaccharides are water soluble, the terpenes are alcohol soluble. So you kind of have to do two different extractions, and to put those together, that makes it an easy form for people. The beautiful thing about tinctures is that you can titrate the dosage. I love how Matthew Wood really brought to the world a lot more about single drop dosage, but then I also love the idea of a combination of like single drop dosage, breathe in the medicine, tune into the vibration, and then actually take a physiological dose, of something. So there's a few different ways I would look at it that way. And if you get into the alchemy, you can actually make mushroom essences. You do that under the moonlight of the full moon versus like plant essences where you're making them under the sunlight. So you could add some vibrational reishi into your alchemical one. You could do some spagyrics with it. It does a great job of that. If you want to get more nerdy, there are also some great reishi extracts. I've been a big fan of using kind of a dual extracted powder because it comes out as really easy and convenient to add into things, and you get a lot of the qualities in just a format that's digestible. So
Can you speak to that for just a moment of just why you would want a dual extract powder versus a raw powder?
well, mushrooms have a lot of chitin in them, right? And that's sort of like basically what the mushroom transforms the lignins of the trees into the hard, almost exoskeleton of the mushroom, and that locks the chemistry in, so you can't really digest it in a lot of ways. So when you grind up reishi mushroom powder, it's totally useless. I mean, it's not totally useless. You get some of the water soluble compounds, but they're all locked in these chitin cells. So hot water extraction opens those up and makes them really bioavailable. Whereas alcohol extraction also breaks open the cell walls and brings out the terpenes. And there's a few let's see, the terpenes. There's some saponins, not a lot in there, but there's ergosterols, like some sterols in there, and some phenols and things like that that are all alcohol soluble. So, and that's only in the spore pad. One of the debates we have in North America around mushrooms is actually mycelium versus fruiting body. You don't see that debate in Europe. That debate's not existent in China either. They only use fruiting bodies, and that's really where the ancient wisdom comes from, thousands of years. And that's because it's the reproductive part. And if you look at it from a HPLC, you see so many terpene profiles and all these other really cool bits of chemistry that are those mushroom hormones. So I'm a big fan of that. And the dual extraction powder, the idea is, and this is something that most people can't make themselves. They'd have to purchase because the way it's done is it's a decoction. So a big double boil and trouble kind of ear of mushroom, eye of mushroom, and wing of other mushroom, cooked down to like a thick tar, and then an alcohol tincture brought down to almost evaporated off. Those are put into a vacuum chamber, and the vacuum chamber changes the atmospheric pressure so that it takes all of the liquid off at room temperature, so it doesn't denature anything. So that's the piece of the equipment that most of us don't have $1 million to buy and do that. And from there, it has to be put into a spray dryer kind of thing. So it's then sprayed back into a powder. So that's basically taking a dual extracted tincture and evaporating it down into a powder. And the reason I love that is you can easily put it in people's coffee. I'm a big fan. Like I often joke in some of my classes. I'm like, where's your water reservoir? I want to drop a couple of liters of reishi tincture in it, just so that everybody gets the vibration of reishi in this town or this city, because I think we all need it. We all need a little more grounding, a little more connection. Reishi's amazing antiviral, amazing for cancer, really good as an autoimmune support and immunomodulator, and just like I mentioned, the insomnia, but also anxiety and tension and radiation. And there's just so many ways that this mushroom can support us in building healthy cells. And the way I like to think of that is that it actually just, like most plants, they don't actually heal us. They inform our body of the wisdom that the plants have gained over the thousands of generations they've been on this earth. And that teaches us. So it's almost like reading a book. When we are hanging with a plant, we're learning from the plant, and our cells are learning at that level, and then they're showing up in better integrity. And that's kind of how reishi works in my mind, is that it actually tunes our own immune system into a little more knowledgeable, educated way of showing up, so it can recognize a lot of these disease states and a lot of these things, so our body actually heals itself. So long-winded way of saying, put a little bit of reishi in people's like Starbucks, put a little reishi in people's, like, especially those people who are allergic to health food stores. Reishi is a great medicine for them, they're like, they probably could use a little bit of that grounding. And it's a really good gateway into the intelligence of the natural world.
Hmm. Wow, that was so awesome. A couple things. One, I love your explanation of like how herbs are working with our body in a dynamic way because I think that's often missed. Like it's because people are used to thinking of pharmaceuticals as these things we take and then it does this thing to our body.
Yeah.
Herbs are so different, and I just love the way you said that. I'm going to watch that several times, I'm pretty sure. Just like our body is adapting and learning from the plant intelligence or the mushroom intelligence in this case. Um, so yeah, that's beautiful. And now I forgot the second point. Everything you're sharing is just fabulous.
If you think of it even just from a chemistry perspective, like just to kind of break it back into like maybe less like etherical, but the chemical, like the degrees and angles and branching of the matrix of how the chemicals are formed together, when our body is exposed to that, it says, oh wow, here's a really cool way of showing up in the world. Maybe I can do that too. And then it starts to like build some of that chemistry itself. And it's almost like if you look at it as like that's how we read, right? That's how our body reads, is just like and that's how organoleptics work, is that they recognize the chemistry and they say, this is an interesting way of showing up. Is this useful for me? And if it is, yes, I'm going to learn from it and keep learning. So yeah, to me, that's a real truth that plants offer us, is this beautiful knowledge bank of like ancestry from their own way of showing up on the planet.
Yes, I love that. And I remembered my second point, which is the way you want to share reishi with everybody. That's what I say about hawthorn. Same thing. Of just like we just need everybody. Like, why do we have Heinz ketchup in the stores? Like that should just be hawthorn ketchup. Like we should be giving hawthorn to everybody all the time. But I'm definitely into the reishi as well. So,
Right. Is what I
yeah.
Hawthorn's a great heart medicine, or not just a heart medicine, but just a beautiful. I like to think that one sews up a broken heart. That
Yeah.
one. But yeah.
Well, so you talked about, the mechanics of making a dual powder extraction, which most of us can't do at home, but you're going to share with us how to do a dual extraction that we can do at home.
Yeah, and that's the way, like, just to kind of take a back step, the best way to practice plant medicine is to make it yourself. And that is another contact point, right? So dual extraction powder is almost once removed from that. And so it's not quite the same, but getting out, connecting with the reishi and the ecosystem, drying it out, slicing it, cooking it down, making a tincture, like these are so many different ways in which you're building the relationship with it. And probably a lot of your viewers or listeners know that like how you set intention in that process is a big part of that medicine too. So a little bit of an offering, sacred space, no distractions makes a big difference to your medicine making. Also doing it within a timely manner of harvest is important. And I call it a crime against wisdom, which I'm fully admit I've done, where it's like, oh, I really should have dealt with that like 3 days ago. What was I thinking? But I know better. So yeah, when it comes to making a dual extracted tincture, it's a little more complicated than just a regular tincture. Layman's tincture, very simple. Fill the jar as much as you can and put in alcohol. With a dual extracted tincture, because you have 2 steps, one of them is a water step, and that water step could it could go off if you don't add some kind of preservative. So whereas a tincture takes a couple of weeks usually to really macerate properly, you could powder it down and put it in a conical filter and do that process of those types of extracts and do it quicker. But most people, or myself anyway, I really, because I can only speak for myself, I really love the magic that happens when you macerate a herb for at least half a moon cycle. It really something happens not just the first day, not the third day, but by 7 days in, the herb and the alcohol have started to marry and started to okay, I'm going to tell you some of my secrets. A little more of my secrets are going to come out. And so there's something about that, and something about shaking it and spending time with it, and ooh, I'm making medicine, I'm spending time. And so there's magic to that. So just a regular tincture, like anybody, however you choose to make a tincture, is one part. Typically, because it's terpenes, and this is something I loved about Michael Moore's, he's got a website and a great book around tinctures. One of the old books one of my first ones I got around every herb has a different level of alcohol. With terpenes, we're looking at 75% alcohol. That's ideal. right? Whereas polysaccharides, which are the water soluble, they don't want 75% alcohol. They do not like it at all. They're like, yikes, this stuff hurts me, it burns me, it breaks me apart. No thanks. It denatures the polysaccharides. They want a really low alcohol or a no alcohol environment. So that's what you're pulling out of the water. So you do the high alcohol, 75% is what I like to get the, ergosterols and the plant hormones or the mushroom hormones in that. And you let that sit for 2 weeks. That's one way. And then it's called like the volcano method, I guess, is sort of one of the things, is that then you take another batch, or if you want to press off that batch, and by using the same mushrooms that you alcohol tinctured, it's broken their cell walls open a little bit. And then you make the decoction with that. Or what I do, because it's not that I'm lazy, but that I like to just have more abundance of the medicine, is I'll take a fresh batch of dried reishi slices that I've done, and I'll do my decoction. With reishi, I find the decoctions are far better if I've dried out the mushroom versus do it fresh. And I've just played with it in both ways. It's way easier to chop when it's fresh, but by drying it out a little bit, it doesn't have to be perfectly like crispy dry, but there's something about like the chemistry just sort of changes a little bit. And I find that works as a better mushroom tincture. So I'll do a decoction, which is a light simmer, not rolling boil, for a number of hours, and I'll pray to it and talk to the weird gods as I'm making it. I love the imagery I have is the double boil in trouble. And I bring in the energy of 3 witches in a cauldron, just like brewing up some magical potion when I'm doing decoctions. And so reishi gets that energy usually when I decoct it, and at minimum 4 hours, but usually I'll start early in the day, and towards the end of the day, if it's 4 to 8 hours, if I'm doing a small batch, because most of us don't need like 10 liters of reishi tincture, we could probably get away with 1 liter of reishi tincture. So that means we're cooking it down to 500 mils of like half and half. I'm mixing the alcohol part at 50% and the water part at 50%. Then I'm going to add more water as I go, because I'm going to simmer it down in low volumes. It evaporates really quickly. So don't be afraid to like you don't need to start with this huge amount of water and evaporate it down to nothing. In my experience, you're better to just add a little more water as you go. And it's just another contact point, and you're in tune with it in that way when you're doing decoctions. So I'll get it down to a nice thick, strong reishi brew. And then while the heat is on, I'll turn the heat off. But while it's warm and the cells are all excited and the mushrooms are all open and the polysaccharides are dancing around in the liquid, that's when you pour the alcohol in and you put the lid on right away. And then I let that sit for another 2 days. At this point, it's preserved. So no problem. You could let it sit for a week, 2 weeks if you want. Better to let it sit for a couple of days, and then it kind of marries for a bit before you press it off. That's the method I like. Some of the other herbalists that I know, they prefer to do, or one of my friends, he's a great herbal chemist kind of guy. He prefers to freeze his decoction. So he does that same decoction, but he throws it into the freezer. And again, like, how do you break open cell walls? Well, freezing is another way. And so that decoction freezes and the cell walls open up a little bit more. And then he takes that out after he freezes it, reheats it, and puts his tincture in that way afterwards. So there are different, ways you can do that. The beauty of the freezing method is you can make them both at the same time. So you can do tincture and decoction, and then when it's in the freezer for 2 weeks while the decoctions or the tincture is going, so you can do that at the same time, and then it's just a reheat. So it's 2 different steps. But I'm a big fan of just making the decoction once my tincture is ready and putting them together. And it's simple. Once you've done that, the big trick though is you need about 25% alcohol to preserve. But at like 30 to 35% alcohol, the polysaccharides start to get scared and they start to go, oh, I don't like this. This is not a comfortable environment. And they fall out of solution. And so you see this with things like marshmallow tincture too. A lot of those like demulcent compounds, like they turn into a goo, right? So, and yeah, nobody wants goo on the top of their tincture. It doesn't work for the mouthfeel, and you lose some of the chemistry. So you don't want to add too much alcohol. So at 75%, mixing it around 50%, you're getting it down there, to around 30%. And that's about ideal.
Well, thank you so much for explaining all of that and also for explaining the whys in different ways. There's just so much learning in there. And for the listeners, if you want to download your recipe card, you could do that at herbswithrosaleepodcast.com. It'll be all written up for you.
Yeah, and I'll add a video. I have a video on that I can share with you too.
I will put that on the show notes as well. I'll get that from you. Awesome. Was there anything else you'd like to share about reishi before we move on?
Um, I think the biggest thing to me is that it's not just people like me who are excited about reishi. Um, like it stems back like over 2,000 years of written history on this. So many fables of like the mythical reishi in the mountains. The ecosystems that it is in are famed in the Chinese lore. There's a quality to it. When I spent time in China, because I went and visited a reishi farm up in the Nine Dragon Mountains. And it was just this beautiful space, all on the basswood or the donwood logs, and just the quality to that ecosystem, and to the like, I could understand the mythos around the reishi. And when we went to a reishi museum, even there was just specialized, and there are over 70 different species of reishi in China alone. There are hundreds around the world. Like when I went to Costa Rica, when I spent time in like in other countries, there is a reishi in every one of these intact ecosystems. Every temperate rainforest has its own reishi. And to me, it's like it is a symbol of a quality ecosystem that has water in it, is that it's going to grow this kind of grandmother or Merlin or wise energy, this kind of, yeah, this quality. And so I really loved that. There's even in South America, they have a beautiful reishi that the shamans down there use when they go to the big city to help ground them to connect back to the forest. And so in every place that it grows, there's some reverence for it. And it's not just us. I think Jane Goodall did a study on apes and gorillas, and the artist conchs, when they found them, they were prized, and they would like fight over these artist conchs, these reishis, and like they would chew on those spore pads, and it was the strength that they would get from that, and its immune integrity, and it became like a dog with its toy, almost like, no, this is mine. You can't, this quality of it was really valuable to them. And so I find that the ecosystems that it grows in are really valuable to this planet. This planet cares about those ecosystems, and we care about those ecosystems. And the benefits to both us and the planet are astronomical, and they just are so multifaceted that it really, I get a lot of like humbleness when I think about reishi and what it does for planet Gaia, and for the human body.
Mhm. Well, I'm feeling very inspired to deepen my relationship with reishi. I've gone through times where, I took it every day for a year and haven't had that in a while. Now I'm feeling, called to work with reishi again. So thank you for the inspiration.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and the invite is like, can you make some reishi yourself? Or like, how can you like deepen that, like when that experience that reishi can offer? Because it is like, and my dad said it once, and I thought it was really funny the way he said it. He's like, I happen to know that herbs grow in bottles. It was just like the concept that like consuming something that we find from a store it is kind of once removed from the herb sometimes. And I love that about grassroots herbalism, and it's coming back, a big resurgence now, is that people want to like do it themselves. And it's really, there's something magical about that. Or even if it's a friend that's making it, or there's some kind of contact to its origin story, that matters. It matters a lot.
hmm It's so much fun to work with like the reishi slices and stuff, like it just feels really cool. Put that in the broths, or I make an
Oh,
astragalus reishi spiced tea, and yeah, it just always feels
yeah,
really
astragalus reishi
special.
goji. That's a good one. I like that one. For
Astragalus reishi goji. Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
'cause the goji, actually a lot of mushrooms like a bit of vitamin C. It helps them absorb better.
Oh, interesting.
So like, an amla or a rose hip or a goji are all really good add-ins to that, like, immune broth with this.
Mm.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, speaking of formulas, one of my favorite, and I did this kind of just for taste. I wasn't like trying to wasn't for any particular reason, but I was combining reishi all in a tincture, reishi, shisandra,
Yeah.
chocolate, and then just like a
Mhm.
touch of licorice for the sweetness, and it was like candy, it was like herbal
Oh,
candy. So
totally. Do you like, so cacao is one that like I only tincture the shells or the hulls. I don't know
mhm,
if you I've tried that versus the whole fatty bean, but I found that the hulls have a
interesting.
lot of the qualities that I want. Like, and this is
Hmm,
all about the growing edges or the outer edges where there's like just neat the cambium layers in trees, but that like that outer hull on it. I learned it from somebody who makes tea with that. They're like, oh, I just use the hulls for tea. I don't use the chocolate bean itself. And so I started tincturing the hulls of cacao. And I was like, wow, this is beautiful. What a great
wow.
tincture. So yeah,
Yeah,
play with
that's
that one,
really
Katie.
interesting. Yeah, yeah, thanks for that. Well, Yarrow, for people who are wondering where they can learn more from you and what programs you might offer, you've mentioned some things, the Vancouver herb gathering, the Canadian herb gathering. You mentioned your school. I think you have a mushrooms class. Is that right?
Yeah, I do have a mushrooms class, and it isn't just like the medicinal qualities. There's a huge section on that, but it talks about cooking with mushrooms, making those different tincture extracts, do different ways of processing, making herbal lattes using mushrooms and broths, doing that, but also tuning into the ecosystem and some of the intelligence. That's a great class. That's at wildrosecollege.com. And that's where a lot of my education offerings are. Other than YouTube, Herbal Jedi, YouTube is just a great free way to connect with me. There's over 100 videos there. There's a lot of yeah, you could have, as they say, like a Netflix binge on my channel if you wanted, because there's a lot of fun.
It's because it's so much fun. Like it really is really fun and informative.
Herbs should be fun. I feel there's something about animating the enjoyment and of the experience and just playing in that world of plant medicine that feels really just really right to me. So yeah, so that's what that channel is all about, really tuning the forest and connecting with different plants at many different levels. But yeah, wildrosecollege.com, I have a herbal pharmacy course where we go deeper into like shrubs and cordials and mocktails and all kinds of fun stuff, as well as creams and all that type of thing. I have a wild foraging course there, as well as a mushroom course. And so that's a great place. Yarrowwillard.com is my personal website. That's another place people can find all my different links. And harmonicarts.ca or .com is our business. And yeah, we have a pretty neat herbal business that is doing some good work. We're B Corp. We do 1% for the planet. We do a lot of give back to protect second growth forests. And we were on Vancouver Island doing really awesome herbal work. So you
Yes,
can
you
check that
are.
out. Well,
Yeah, and if anyone missed all those links, we're going to put them all in the show notes, so it'll be easy to get to, including the recipe. So be sure to check out the show notes that make those connections.
there's almost too many. It's like a mycelium of connections.
Well, it's very inspiring, and yeah, you're doing a lot of really cool projects.
Well, the plants told me to. It's them doing the work through us, I find sometimes.
Yeah, that is very true. Well, before I let you go, Yarrow, I have one more question for you, and I'm excited to hear your answer. This question is, how do herbs instill hope in you?
Mm. Through tea. No, I mean, that's how they instill it in me. I think about it as a evening beverage, that. But I think, I mean, I've spoke to it a couple of times here, and it's weaving us back into the natural world as part of an ecosystem. A lot of humans have just a relationship with other humans, and that's really monocropping our communication with this planet. Like, we live on this beautiful place with such a diversity of conversations going on. And so to me, how they instill hope is they're like a gateway into like exploring a much more diverse way of building relationships. So they help us with that interspecies relationship development, which is something I think we all need a little more of. We get it from our cats and dogs, a lot of us, but there's so much bigger conversations going on that we can be part of through herbal medicine. And that's a personal thing for each individual at whatever level they want to kind of join that conversation. But that's what gives me hope, is that more people are having that conversation because of plant medicine.
Mm. Oh, that's so beautiful. And I as you said, people might find their own herb that they connect on with, but I can just really see how reishi is the perfect example of that mycelium connection, that connection to the ecosystem, that conversation that happens there.
And it's like the more you dig, the deeper it gets. Like there's all kinds of stories about the consciousness of reishi. They're trying to measure these, and there's like an electromagnetic way of seeing like this energy moving across the mycelium. And it's like, is this one giant brain, this nervous system that's like putting its attention over to this hypha? There's a new tree that falls, and it's too, like, it's neat. The more we're learning about this from like measurable ways, the more it's like giving us the reminders of, oh, there's a magic to this too, which is this, like, there's a consciousness in there somewhere, moving around in a really beautiful way that we can now almost measure, which is kind of cool. So yeah, there's a lot there. Yeah, I could, again, it's something. Yeah, one more thing about hypha that I think is so awesome. Just like our brains and our nervous system are 80-20, like feedback from the gut to the brain and then back to the gut. It's like 80% of information going to the brain from the gut, telling it what to do. And then the brain says, okay, I guess this is what we do. But every little hypha on a mushroom has that same feedback to the mother nervous system. And it's just this constant communication dance that is so beautiful that we can now see through the chemistry moving around these mycelial nets. And I just think it's a great example of the larger intelligence that is out there.
Yarrow, you said you could spend hours talking about reishi, and I believe it. I 100% believe it. And I'm also just, so inspired about how much there is to learn. And I really am taking to heart one of your first messages, that learning often comes from the connection. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Well, may the forest be with you. And as we say, live long and prospore, my friends.
Thank you so much for being here, Yarrow.
All right. Bye for now.
As always, thanks for being here. Don't forget to head over to the show notes at herbswithrosaleepodcast.com to download your beautifully illustrated recipe card and to get a transcript of this show. There you can also sign up for my weekly newsletter, which is the best way to stay in touch with me. You can also find more from Yarrow on YouTube at herbal_Jedi. If you'd like more herbal episodes to come your way, then one of the best ways to support this podcast is by subscribing on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. I deeply believe that this world needs more herbalists and plant-centered folks, and I'm so glad that you're here as part of this herbal community. Also, a big round of thanks to the people all over the world who make this podcast happen week to week. Nicole Paul is the project manager who oversees the whole operation, from guest outreach to writing show notes to actually uploading each episode, and so many other things I don't even know. She really holds this whole thing together. Francesca is our fabulous video and audio editor. She not only makes listening more pleasant, she also adds beauty to the YouTube videos with plant images and video overlays. Tatiana Rusikova is the botanical illustrator who creates gorgeous plant and recipe illustrations for us. I love them. I know that you do too. Christy edits the recipe cards, and then Jenny creates them as well as the thumbnail images for YouTube. Alex is our tech support and social media manager, and Karen and Emily are our student services coordinators and community support. For those of you who like to read along, Jennifer is who creates the transcripts for us each week. Xavier, my handsome French husband, is the cameraman and website IT guy. It takes an herbal village to make it all happen, including you. One of my favorite things about this podcast is hearing from you. I read every comment that comes in, and I'm excited to hear your herbal thoughts on reishi. Okay, you've lasted to the very end of the show, which means you get a gold star and this herbal tidbit. Well, I'm really feeling so inspired about reishi right now. Is it just me? Are you excited to work with reishi more too? I'd love to hear about it. Well, after our conversation, I headed over to PubMed to see if there's been any interesting research on reishi lately. And here's what I found. There was a 2020 clinical trial showing that reishi supplementation could improve quality of life in people with lung cancer who were undergoing chemotherapy. There was a 2021 study which looked at several herbs for helping people with Gulf War syndrome. In this case, interestingly, reishi didn't seem all that helpful, but another plant that we love, stinging nettle, did. The researchers called for additional research to be done.
There were other studies looking at Reishi's ability to reduce oxidative stress, which had benefits for anti-aging and liver protection. This is truly a fascinating mushroom. I'm a bit jealous of all of you who may have it growing abundantly near you. And if that is you, I hope this conversation with Yarrow has inspired you to get out and spend some time with Reishi.